and welcome back to the Sports News. My name is Ryan Ashker. Right now we have the honor of being joined by Omar Carter and Dr. Mehta. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And each year, we notice, I pointed out, over 350,000 Americans suffer from a condition that often goes undetected, sudden cardiac arrest. That's what you gentlemen are here to talk to us about today. So can you give us a little bit more information on this problem?
Sure. Sudden cardiac arrest is commonly mistaken for something like a heart attack. So a heart attack happens when blood flow suddenly ceases to your heart muscle and the heart muscle starts to die. So if you think of sudden cardiac arrest, which is very distinctly different than a heart attack, it's an electrical problem that occurs, and so the electrical activity of the heart becomes very disordered, and the pump, which may be normal, the muscle may be normal, can't function adequately and deliver blood flow to the rest of the body. So in that situation, things like CPR or a life-saving electrical shock can restore that normal activity and, such as in Omar's case, bring someone back to life.
So it is a very, very serious problem, and medical technologies or medical work has to be taken immediately to save that person's life, correct?
Absolutely, and this is the one situation where all of us can be part of the chain of survival. So in Omar's case, one of our ICU nurses, Kelly Thomas, happened to be at the basketball game where he collapsed and was able to provide CPR for 13 minutes. The scary part is there were probably 20 or 30 people huddled around Omar, obviously very well-intentioned and well-meaning, but no one was brave enough to touch him or to provide CPR, and had Kelly not been there, he would not be with us today.
That's a scary thought. And Omar, if you wouldn't mind sharing your story with us, I remember obviously seeing it on ESPN. It's happened to a couple athletes, and we're thrilled that you're able to be here today and still alive to talk to us and share information on what you went through to try to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Can you share with us what happened on that night to you?
Sure. So July 11th, 2013 to be exact, as Dr. Mehta said, I suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. And Kelly Thomas was an ICU cardiac nurse that just so happened to be at the game and decided last minute to come perform CPR on me for 13 minutes. And it was then that the EMS team showed up fairly quickly where I was taken to the local hospital, and I was actually slipped into a coma and put into a medically induced coma to better my chances for 3 days. And it was then that I woke up. Didn't have to go through any extensive rehab, but instead I have implanted in me with what's called a subcutaneous implantable defibrillator made by Boston Scientific. And what it does is it helps me lead a normal life, if you will. Other than me playing basketball, which I knew normally, I can still do my day-to-day activities, and that's exercising, walking and jogging a little bit, as well as dieting. Make sure I eat the right things.
And with that, I gotta ask, Omar, you were a top-level athlete, peak physical condition. We have a lot of young athletes and viewers that participate in high school and collegiate and even semi-pro sports here with the Sports News. Is this something that any inclination that could happen to you? What was your reaction when you woke up and found out what actually happened to you?
To be honest, I remember when I first woke up, I thought I was still on the basketball court. I'm trying to get up, like, what are all these leads and things in me? But, it's one of those things where, after the fact, once I found out what happened, what's the next step? It's trying to talk to other people about CPR and what they could possibly do if they had to save a life. So that's what I've dedicated my time to. And I've started my foundation to do that, the OC Foundation.
And that's a fantastic foundation to get your info out there. Now, Dr. Mehta, can you explain a little bit more about the device that Omar mentioned and how that's allowing him to live his life fully, and how that could potentially save his or someone else's life?
Yeah, absolutely. So implantable defibrillators are designed to deliver that life-saving shock that he got after 13 minutes in a more time-efficient fashion. So for Omar, should this ever happen again, he does have that insurance policy and the ability to have that shock delivered in under a minute. The success rates from shocks delivered by implantable defibrillators are amazingly good, over 90+% successful. And it gives him the peace of mind to know that he can live a normal life, and that includes lifespan. But I think to Omar's point, one of the critical pieces with regards to the treatment is really being part of the chain of survival. So CPR is by and large the single biggest thing that saved his life.
Now, is there a way that everyday athletes, high school parents, collegiate parents can prevent this from happening to their student athletes? Is this a preventable disorder? And where can our viewers learn more about this condition?
Absolutely. Look in your local community for potential screening programs that oftentimes exist. Be an active participant in your healthcare, knowing whether you have high blood pressure, diabetes. If you smoke, stop. Knowing your family history. And then there are several websites that you can engage. The local American Red Cross for CPR certification. If you want to know more about Omar's type of device, there's a website called sicd.com. And Omar started a foundation to help give back called the OC Foundation. His website is ocfoundationinc.org, where you can find a lot of information about hands-only CPR, or compression-only CPR, I should say, and what you can do to make an impact in your own community.
Understandable. Well, we are just about out of time here on the Sports News. Dr. Mehta, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Omar, we really appreciate it. Want to wish you obviously the best of luck and congratulate you with the new foundation, getting your word out there. That is Omar Carter and Dr. Mehta. We'll be right back with more of the Sports News in just a moment.